Today, I'm going to go over the top 5 things that people are afraid to tell their psych provider. This isn't an all inclusive list, but it's the common ones or the most common ones that I get asked. So, the first one is I'm scared you'll think I'm crazy. If you're scared that your provider will think you're crazy, it's way more common than people realize. But a good psych provider is not sitting there judging you. We're listening to patterns in mood, in sleep, anxiety, if there's a trauma history, safety, day to day functioning, and what kind of support would actually help you. So you don't have to explain everything perfectly. You just need a safe place to start. And a good provider is listening for patterns, not judging your pain. The second question I get asked quite often is, I don't want medications. And the truth is, you're allowed to tell your provider that you don't want medication. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you difficult. It doesn't mean that you aren't asking for help or that you are refusing help. It just means that you want to understand all of your options, which can include without medication. And there's nothing wrong with that. So a good provider will talk with you about this, about risk and benefits, about therapy, about lifestyle and diet changes and social support, symptoms to monitor, and when medication may or may not make sense for you in your day-to-day life. So you deserve informed consent, not pressure. Not wanting medication does not mean that you don't want help. So the third question I get asked is, I stopped my meds. If you stop taking your meds, please tell your psych provider. We're not here to judge you. Again, if you stop taking your meds, just let your provider know. We need to know so that we can help you safely, not shame you. It's not a shaming. You're not naughty. You're not a bad person for doing that. People stop meds for a lot of reasons, whether it's side effects or fear, or they feel better or they feel worse. Sometimes it's cost or just not wanting to rely on medication. There's nothing wrong with that, but stopping suddenly can sometimes cause withdrawal symptoms or symptoms that you were feeling relief from to come back and sometimes come back stronger. But please just tell your provider you're not in trouble. Your provider just needs the truth to help you make a very safe plan. And you're not bad for stopping the medication, but your provider does need to know so that we can make sure to minimize any kind of negative effects that you might get from that. The fourth question I get most commonly is, I cry every time I talk about it. If you cry in your appointment, your provider's not shocked. Crying does not mean that you're falling apart. It usually means something important is actually coming up for you. That might be grief or shame. That might be fear. It might be overwhelm or even a sense of relief sometimes, or even the feeling of finally feeling safe enough to stop holding it all in. And you don't have to apologize for having a human nervous system. You can cry and still be strong. Crying is a normal response by most human beings. Crying in session is not failure. Sometimes it's just your nervous system releasing all of the things that it has been carrying. So, not a bad sign at all. And the fifth and final question I'll go over on this one is, I've never told anyone this before. So some people tell their psych provider something that they've never said out loud before, and that can feel very terrifying, understandably so. You don't have to say the whole thing perfectly. You can write it down if you want. You can start with one sentence. You can even say, I need help saying something really hard. And a good provider should not rush you or shame you or force details before you're ready. You're allowed to go slowly. So you don't have to tell the whole story at once. One honest sentence can be a true beginning. So just don't hesitate to reach out and just say the thing, right? And even if you have difficulty saying the thing, then say, I'm having difficulty saying the thing. That's what we're here for, is to help you navigate these things. But they're all very common, very human related things.